Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to CCxRC. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at my heavily modified Axial UTB18. This one's been a little while coming for you guys, and I'm super excited about where it's at and some of the upgrades that we've done to it. And so we're going to be talking about that in this video. We just installed this Furatech Callian titanium cage for it. I think it's Callian, maybe it's Callian. Put the name up on the screen so you see how it's spelled, but I believe it's Callian, and it's awesome. Titanium, these are welded together, TIG welded, and I mean, it's pretty cool. Then they cut out these gold titanium pieces here, screwed them in place. It was really lightweight, really easy to convert over to this, and I think it just makes it look cool. So I'm stoked with how it looks. I really did like the stock UTB18 Capra body that I had on here. I really do like it as it was, but this just, I think, goes to another level of cool, and so I'm excited about this, and we'll talk about it. So let's take a look. Anytime you do upgrades like this, there's definitely going to be some hurdles that you run into. Things aren't going to fit exactly like they did with stock. Even if you just change out your electronics, you may struggle to find out where to put things. So you may have servo wires that aren't as long. You don't know what the problems are going to be, but you're almost always going to run into something. So luckily there wasn't a whole lot with this. There was a few, we'll talk about those. But overall, I did it relatively fast. Most of this took about 45 minutes to swap over. Granted, I already had the wheels and tires already swapped over, so that was done. But I did drop out the whole thing from the original cage, and there's just 4 screws to really do that. 1, 2, and then 3, 4 on the other side. And then you have to remove your shocks, and the whole thing will pretty much drop out. It's crazy. A few other screws you take out if you want to, get in and access things, remove the light bar, all that kind of stuff. But for just minimal work on this, or to pull the transmission out, that's how easy it is. Drop this, a couple screws underneath, pop it out, and you can work on it pretty easily. So internally in there, you can see we're running a Furatech Komodo motor. This is their UTB18 Stinger system. So on this wall over here, I've stuck on their Lizard Pro. Where is it? There it is back there. And the on-off switch is going to be tucked right here as well. And I've actually got it so my upper lights are working. I don't have a big enough receiver in here currently to run them both, but yeah, I mean, that was an easy swap out. Used the pinion off the stock one, and we were able to fit it in here pretty easily, I would say. And nice and smooth. That's one of the best things about that, is how smooth everything runs now. And yeah, big upgrade. One of the biggest upgrades you can do. You could do that without even changing over to this chassis if you wanted. This chassis just adds a super cool factor to it, in my opinion. Everything is metal. It is custom welded. And yeah, titanium, super lightweight. I don't know how they get it in at the price that they do, 150 bucks. That's pretty awesome. I will mention that Furatech did send this over to me to show you guys how this all fits together and works. And so that's what we're doing in this video. They did not pay me to make the video, and I get to talk about it however I want. We will talk about a few things that I did find to be difficult with it, actually. So, not a perfect review. Pretty high up there, though, I would say. Most things went together pretty well, like I said. You do lose some cable management. You do actually still get to fit your rock lights on here. They do stick out. If you run really big tires, you might hit those. My tires, I wanted to keep about stock height because they just look right with the vehicle. Going super big, I just think is kind of, I don't like the look of it. Some people do. Everybody gets to have their own opinion. I wanted to keep it. The whole point of this was not to be 10 scale, and to use these smaller tires just works with that. So that said, I am running the stock suspension, and it does feel like they definitely need some oil in the shocks again. I just kind of built it over here to get it out there and run it and try it, and I immediately realized that the suspension definitely feels like it needs something in it, or even new shocks, maybe, possibly. These are the CCxRC wheels. These are absolutely gorgeous. Everybody's asking about them. What wheels are those? What are you running on there for wheels? These are from CCxRC. We'll make sure we link to them. We are also running these Berserker tires. These are pit bulls. And I don't remember the compound on these. I'll have to look back through my receipts. We'll put that down in the description below. Crawler Innovations foams. You can see we're running the softs up front. You can definitely see it bulging there. These are the medium, and so they're a little bit firmer. So they'll still squish under a little bit of pressure. But overall, we mainly have that in the front. That way, going up hills and stuff, we'll have it to push against, keep that front down. So a lot of people run it that way. That's kind of the way we went with for it as well. Reefs Raw 400 up front, giving us that power for the servo with the Reef servo horn. Still plastic links up front, steering links. Those definitely are going to need to be upgraded. We were able to actually get the front lights in here. That was a bit tricky to actually line up, and so not one of my favorite parts of it. In fact, I don't think, I didn't even put the nuts on the back of these yet, so I need to do that before I forget. But you can see it, the screw is angling on its way in. It's not perfectly lined up. It's a little bit tight, but it'll work. You might not even want that. I wanted to put all the lights up in here, and so they're all kind of wired together. You can see it's kind of tight up there. Kind of keeps your battery in because I don't have a Velcro around here strap, which would be really easy to do. However, it kind of holds in there, and it hasn't been an issue. Flops a little bit, but they've made it so that it will accept Velcro straps the way that they did the metal. You can see there, where it's coming up around the battery here. You could easily get Velcro straps in there. So I will be doing that, going under it, wrapping around it, and pulling it tight there. So that is something coming. So one of the big things is, on the other one, there's a big plastic piece on the back here. They did not run a bar across here, which would have been helpful, or even a plate of some kind, which I can add. It's not the end of the world. I can either zip tie in a piece of styrene or whatever back in here as a plate, but I could not. I thought that my receiver was going to fit in this box, and it didn't. So I actually routed all my cables back, cut a bigger hole into this box, and put all the wires in here, and it did not fit. I think if I break the case off it, it'll potentially fit, but currently you can see that it's sticking up. I have double-sided tape on both sides of the receiver, which is sitting sideways in there, and yeah, it's just holding it. Plus this is running through. I shouldn't lose this, hopefully not, crossing my fingers. But you have multiple spots here for mounting your shocks, same with the front. A little bit of problem with that was the angle of these and the way that they sit and the height of them. Your shocks definitely hit the chassis here, and so you need a spacer on there. What I just did is, because they're threaded with nylocks on here, I just screwed them in and left a gap there for it to have movement. But you really should put spacers in there. I didn't have any at the time when I was building it, and so I'll probably 3D print a spacer. So it's just something you'll have to think about, either having a few washers on hand to space that off. Same with the rear, would be good to have spacers on there. And you know, they have nice long screws for them. But not a deal breaker if you really like this kind of a cage that has such a cool look to it, scale look. It also, the way that it's designed, means that you're going to have this pin that you have to deal with. I don't know why they didn't put that pin on this and have this be open and drive it down through and put your pin in from the bottom. That would have been perfect. Just flip this. Do the same system with this cool metal piece that's welded in here, but do that onto here, driving downward, so your pin, you don't have a big body clip right there. A little bit of a bummer that it sticks up like that. Would be easy for them to flip that around and do that way, if you ask me, honestly. And then you just would have to reach up inside and, you know, with the little button, the little tabs that they have on them, it shouldn't be too hard to put in from the bottom side, I don't think. But that would have been really, really cool, just to take it one more scale level up versus that. So, what else did I see? Yeah, so the big thing was the room for the electronics. Now, technically, I could just put my receiver on a sidewall as well. It gets a little sketchy with an outrunner motor and then having to run wires from here to there. Or I guess I could put them both on the same side and move this forward. But they are running this kind of V shape in here, cage. And so it does make it hard to fit both in there because of the size of their ESC takes up most of that area. So it just gets a little tricky in trying to get that wiring worked out. But I did just run the wires for the lights right onto the receiver. I just don't have a big enough, or I only have a 2-channel receiver in here. If I had 3 or 4 channel, that'd have been perfect because it's running into also the battery little button that they have on these Spectrum ones. Already have driven it, doing good, enjoying it. One other small thing is they drilled these hole sizes a little too big for the screws that they ended up using. Mine was fine. I didn't actually notice it being a problem. But then I watched the Cape Crawler's video where he talked about his having pulled through here in the front. And I was like, well, mine's not pulled through. And then I just kind of lifted on it just to see, just give it a little tug. And it popped the screw right through. And then I realized how big the hole is, and it was just going to happen driving. So I actually just took a little bit bigger screw head, a little bit bigger button head from a TRX 4M screw kit, and with a little nylon lock nut on there. And I just need to cut that little bit off there, but it's not going to actually hit anything, so it could stay that long if I wanted, but I'll clean it up and put a shorter one. That won't come out. So you could replace all those and do it, but the side ones don't seem like they're going to be an issue. Top one really either. You can see there are a few little cut spots on it that where they run their cut a little pass on that. But I mean, overall, if you're looking at it, the welds are decent. And yeah, I'm impressed with it. It does have the room here to actually screw this back box in, which we've gone ahead and done. I think that's most of the upgrades that I've done so far. And you can install, like I said before, that we took out the drivers and all that, but there is a spot for them, and it comes with the screws and the nuts to put them on here. But currently, I'm not sure that I'm done with all my wiring yet and what I'm going to do and where it's going to all go. And so until I do that, I'm not going to put the drivers in. But you could do that. But you also would then have to think through how you want to keep this wire here in order to... There was a lot of things. I had to turn this ESC this way in order to get into the receiver box without an extension, which then meant that the battery wire is coming off this side as well. And then the motor comes over here. Anyway, I just need to figure out, this motor wire could come up here, or, you know, the plug could come up in here and be reachable from underneath this lid. And I could probably zip tie it up so it'd stay there. So I'm not constantly trying to find it and fumble for it for ease of use. But if I flip this around and I move the receiver to this side, that would solve a lot of those problems. Anyway, those things to look through. The rock lights, some people I've read were saying they didn't fit. They're not intended to actually fit into the hole here. This is just, it has a screw hole in the back, so the hole is not meant for that little stud coming off the lights to go into. It's meant to hang off like it is here. So that's that. You potentially, I guess, could run your light on the inside if you wanted. And just flip them so the lights are in here and turned in and down. But I just went the way that the stock was set up, and they're just on the outside here. I don't need them or love them. I'm only powering this one currently, and I probably would like to power the front ones as well. And so I'll be looking to get power to these up front. Until then, we're going to run it with the one light on. I am running my DX5 Rugged, my original. Still has the old little touch screen thing on here. Not nearly as cool as the new ones. The new ones work way better. But I've just found these to be great. We have 3 of them now. And the only thing I wish they had was more memory for RCs, because they're all at about 20 now. So it's problematic that way. Us crawler guys love to have a lot of RCs. This seems like this radio is meant for crawlers, and they limited us to 20. So that's the only bummer that I find about this radio. Is if you want to have a crazy huge collection, then you have to have multiple multiple ones. But it's my favorite one because it has the thumb drive. I can drive it using this, drive it one-handed, and that's a big deal to me because all the other ones are kind of out of the way and that's not really doable. So this is still my go-to, and I just have to remember which of the three I bound to. So hopefully this video will help me remember. Anyway, let's get it out on the trail and let's run it. Alrighty, there it goes. Off to the races. Nice slow crawl. I did adjust the trim on this thing a little bit in the settings or in my throttle curve. So I have a lot of just low, slow crawling on the very front end of my trigger. So it allows me to keep it nice and smooth. We're gonna see what we can do here. I don't know why I tried to go up and over that. Guess because that's what my turning radius allowed. Look at that. Nice weighted wheels here. Just because the aluminum makes them nice and heavy. These are solid wheels, these CCxRC ones. So we're not going to make that either, that corner. So we're going to come around it. You know what I didn't set is my endpoints on my steering. I should probably do that. So I feel like I might be able to get a little more. Let's see here, travel. Steering is just at 100. Oh yeah, there's more. Quite a bit more. Oh, both ways I had a lot more throw. That's what I'm talking about. I was looking at it wondering, like, why is that it? I just love the creep of these FureTech systems. All right. Let's see what we got for speed here. That's decent. Little wheel speed if you need it. Nothing super difficult here. Let's see. I can climb this. Don't go falling off of that, that's for sure. That's quite a drop down. A couple of drops. Come up over the top of this here. Nice. It's actually now more steering than I can even really do with just the thumb steer. Oh! I gotta get out here now that the ground is thawed and the snow is gone. We're getting some weeds, some onions here, it looks like maybe. Gotta get rid of. Rocking it. So good. This is really designed for 24 scale, so there's nothing super complex for this here. So we're just trying to find some of the lines that I know the 24 scales can't do and just see if it can do them. Oh, there's a roll. First rollover with it. When I was out driving it earlier, it did not roll. There we go. Cool line here would be to split up this There we go. Not super technical, just cool. Now we're getting some steering going on. That's nice. You can see the difference in how the tires grip with those crawler innovations up front for sure. And see the rear come through. Look at that squish. Much firmer. I'm actually trying to remember. I might have only had the fronts to put in. I wonder if I'm running stock foams in the rear. Come on and get it. Oh, come on. There it is. This one's slippery. This is a slick rock here. We're gonna have to bump up that. That's a big incline there. There it is. All right, I'm back. I had a phone call come in. Don't know if I missed it. Kind of went around the edge of it, it looks like. Not a super awesome bump going up that. You're gonna hook on that. Look at that hook. Oh, so nice. Overall impression, I just like these things in general. Like how they handle, I like the scale of it, the size. So this just makes it, I like the look of this chassis a lot. I like the gold and the silver combo. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. I think my suspension definitely can use some work. These tires need, after being stuck with this kind of clay on them, need a cleaning and a little of Jeff's special sauce on here. And I think they'll hook up even better than they are. I haven't tried this align yet. Alrighty guys, there you have it. First look at my upgraded Capra UTB18 by Axial. This is running a bunch of upgrades from the CCxRC wheels, Reef's Raw 400. First time using that. Look at how snappy that is. Super fast. So definitely liking that. We're running the stock battery Furatech Stinger system for the UTB18 in there. This is their Furatech Callian titanium chassis built for this. Super awesome, guys. Hope you're enjoying this kind of content, a little bit bigger than what we've been running, and we got bigger stuff coming, guys, that's for sure. Have fun RCing. We'll catch you next time.